This video is on advanced website editing. We are picking up where we left off in the more website editing video. Once you've logged into your system, you go to the website editor simply by going up to the top toolbar and selecting website. And I'm going to collapse the menu to give us a little more room to work. You remember in the video that we did create a new page by going into the manager section and going through the sitemap. And we created a page called the quote builder page, and that's what we're going to work on right now. So I go back to the Montroy difference, and here's our quote builder page that I created. Now I have done a little work on this page to save us a little bit of time. You'll see here that I have the traditional funeral service package with burial that I started to build. We have the services of the funeral director and staff and the price in there, transfer of the remains in there, and I've got to complete this. It's a good start, but there's more work to be done. Now I'll explain how we did actually start that. If you go to Edit Content, this is how you'll create a new section. This is our section that I have on the page already. If you wanted to create a new section, you would just click on New. What you're going to see, I'll edit the one that we have up there. So you'll see our options. Is it visible? Yes. Should this package become unavailable, I would just select No if I wanted to take this package off my live site. It's as simple as that. You don't have to go through and delete everything. You can just set it to No in case you're going to revise it for later. And it's position number 1 on our page, quite simply. Section header is just an optional item in there. And I have got the title, which is the traditional funeral services package. Now, you can put in a description as to what this is, if you like, but generally you can fill that out with the information below with the actual items. How should the items be displayed? Whether it's checkboxes, whether it's a drop-down box, or whether it's radio buttons. That will be up to you. If you have a lot of items that you want to give them a selection in, you would use the drop-down box, but generally it's checkboxes for what they want, or the radio buttons if they can only make one choice in a section. Should you have any questions, don't forget you can always click on the question mark, and you'll get a pop-up explanation of what they are and how they work and how best to use them. So you scroll down, and you'll see that our first item, and you do have an option of 12 items in each section. We have the name, which is the basic services of the funeral director and staff. The position in our list is number 1. Here's our price. And this is a mandatory item in this package. They don't get to select this. You can see that it can either be not selected, which will give the visitor the option to select it, or it is selected, kind of prompting them to because they can uncheck it. But mandatory, they have no option. It is an item that has to be taken with this package. And we also have to set this to don't allow user to enter quantity. Obviously, they're not going to be allowed to do that on a mandatory item. Here we've entered a description of what the item is and what it's about. Our second item was the transfer of remains. It's position number 2. The price is in there. Once again, this is mandatory for this package, so they're not allowed to enter quantity. And our description. Now, I'm going to enter a third item in here to show you how this works. And this is simply called use of facilities. It's position 3. Our price will be $250. Now this isn't selected. We're going to leave this option open to the visitor as to how many times they want to use it. So we're going to have to drop this down and allow user to enter quantity. Now I've written up a short description here in Notepad that I'm going to copy and paste into it. And the considerations option, once again, something else I have copied. And I'll show you how that works on our finished product. So we have added another item into our quote builder that visitors can select. And as I had mentioned, you'll see that you can put in 12 items into each section. Generally, you're not going to need that much, but you do have that option. Once you have your items in, you click Save. And then we'll go to Close to have a look at our page. And here you'll see my use of facilities item is now showing. Now the considerations box that I filled in is some more info. And the visitor will get this pop-up saying, please select the number regarding visitations and or service. Please add one for each visitation or service if required. So you can put information like that in there should they need it. And if they decide they're going to have 2 visitations and the service there, Obviously, they're going to select 3, and you'll notice that our price has gone up. It's added it in their quote builder. So you're giving the visitor an idea of what this is going to cost them overall. And note that this quote does not include the applicable HST. And I imagine I should show you how you do that. We'll go back to Edit, Content, and here you have the Edit Header and Edit Footer. See this option on a lot of pages. And here you see this is where I've put in my little note for the footer. And you can do the same for the header and write that up as you wish. So you could keep adding items and sections to your quote builder. Each time create a new section. And then if you have several packages that you want to put out, or whatever options you're offering the visitors to your site, you can also test the quote builder obviously before publishing it. And if you have any questions on that, you can always contact your project manager, or of course send an email to support@frontrunner360.com. Now the next item we're going to set up is the email responder. Now we did show you how to create a page, a brand new page, and we've done that here. And we go back to the home section. Once again we go to the Montroy difference, and I created a page called Contact Us. Now obviously when you create that page you have to set the page type, don't forget that. So you would go up to Edit Page Details and you would actually select Edit Details. For an email type of page, you want to set it as an open an email form. That one's pretty simple to remember. Once you've set that, save it and close. And now you'll have the correct page type for creating an email responder form. So if you go to Edit Content, and our familiar WYSIWYG editor opens up. Now you're going to have to set this to advanced because we need a few extra features in the system. First thing you'll want to put in is the purpose of this area, and that is to email us, or whatever you'd like to call it. And I'll want to make that bold, set it to our standard font for the system, bump up the size a bit, and I'm happy with that. Now you have to put in the fields for the visitor to submit their information. So we're probably going to want their name. Now you could enter, please enter name here, that sort of thing if you'd like. But when you have that, it should be pretty self-explanatory to most people on the web these days. You need to enter the text box for them to enter information. And you'll see here, this icon, the pop-up tells you it is a text field, where they can insert an input field where a user can type a single line of text, and that's what we want. So you click on it, and you get this pop-up. Now the name of the field, you're putting a name in here so that when you get the email, you know what is contained in this field. So it's going to be the name. We'll give it a 50 character width and a maximum of 50 characters. This you'll play around with to see how it sets up on your page, but we'll go with that to give you an idea of how that works. Okay, so we have their name, and we'd like their email address as well. So once again, I need another text box. I'll title this email. We'll keep it the same. Okay, and there's our box. We can ask for their phone number. I think we'll set this at 25 and a maximum of 15. And then we need a comment section. Now, we're not going to put in a text field. We need a box. So right next to the text field, we have the text box. Now, this area is where they can put in multiple lines of text, obviously, and they're going to need that. So we select that. And we'll title it Comments. And we'll give them 30 columns and 30 rows. Once again, this is something you'll probably play around with till you find the perfect fit for your page or whatever you're happy with. I click OK, and there you see we have our comment box in here. So I give them quite a big section to fill things out. Click below that because we have to put the submission button in. To do that, you'll see right over here we have the button. You insert a form reset or submit button. Just click that. We're going to title it submit and leave this type as submit. Click OK, and you'll see we have the submit button. Now right beside that, we can insert another one. We're going to call this the reset. You can call it clear, redo, whatever you want to call it, but you want to set this one to reset for obvious reasons. So that instead of making the person go back and wipe everything out, they can just reset it themselves as they go. So I think we're set with that. We have our fields for them to enter their name, their email address, phone number, and any comment they'd like to pass along to us. And then the submission or reset buttons all have been added. We're not quite done. The additional form HTML, stay away from that for the moment. Now, how to get an email from the system. You can select this option, which is use email for website forms. That's in your system profile. You have an email address entered there for anyone submitting a form from your website. It's going to go to that email address. You can just check that. Or you can put in the destination email address that you'd like. Maybe someone else is supposed to receive this. You can put in several email addresses here. Just separate each one with a comma. But this is the email address that is going to get this submission. Now, the subject of the email. This is what's going to be on the email that's sent from the system to you if you're the receiver. And I've just made up this little line so it's a submission from the Contact Us page. Top of the email message body, not really necessary because it's coming from you. But the thank you message is very important. This is what the submitter will see. Once they've submitted the email to you, this will pop up on the screen. And I just wrote this up and I'm going to copy and paste it in here, which says thank you for contacting Montroy Funeral Home. We'll respond to your request as quickly as possible. So now that you have that all set up, happy with that, we'll click save and see how our page turned out. And there you see. This filled out because I was already doing this before, but basically this is going to be blank when a visitor comes. They would type in their name, their email address, I'll just leave that in there for now, phone number, and my comment is going to be so you can see I made that box just a little too big, so I'll probably would cut down the rows on that. I would go back in the editor and do that, but you can see now they get the submit or the reset. They would click submit, and they get a captcha that they have to put in here, so you don't get spammed to actually have to be an actual person entering this. So they would enter the captcha, confirm, and here's the thank you message. Thank you for contacting Montroy Funeral Home. We'll respond to your request as quickly as possible. To show you, because that email already arrived in my email box, that I did receive this submission. So a form's been submitted to you through the Site Magic Engine. Name, remember I put in Mark, my email address, phone number, and nothing at the moment. So you can see how quickly that does work. Should someone contact you, you're going to get notified pretty quickly. And that's how easy it is to build a email responder form on your site. Now the next item we'll look at is creating a frequently asked questions page. If you don't have one on your site, it's very simple to do. Obviously you're going to create a new page in the section where you would like it. And we have our section here in the help and guidance section. So here's our frequently asked questions. Now you see we have ours broken down into child pages, just to break them up a little bit so it's not like 100 questions in here, but we have general questions, embalming, funeral costs, that sort of thing, obituaries. So we'll look at the obituary page, and you'll see that we do have questions in there, but just to point out, when you do create the fact page, In your page type, when you click Edit Details, you want to open a Frequently Asked Questions page. Pretty obvious. And when you do that, obviously click Save. And when we select Edit Content, so you can see the questions that we do have in this section. You can click on that, edit the actual question, and it's as simple as that. You enter your question, you enter your answer, and the system does the rest for you. You can change the position. If you have a section with a lot of questions, select Close. I'll go to Edit Content one more time. If you need to add a new question, select New. This is going to be position 3. You obviously enter your question. Enter your answer there. If you have any questions about these fields, remember, just click the question mark and you'll get an explanation. I save that. We're happy with the way they are. If you want to change positions, obviously you just click positions and go that route. And when I close, you'll see the third question that I've just entered. Pretty simple system to use, and you can add as many questions as you want. Like I say, we've broken them down into sections for this site just to make it easier for the visitors to navigate and find what they're looking for quickly without having to scroll through about 300 pages. Of course, if you do all on one page, the questions are going to list like this, and if they click on it, it takes them right to the question and right to the answer. So you have a lot of options in the setup. Should you have any questions regarding editing your website, feel free to contact your project manager or send an email to support@frontrunner360.com.